the dysfunctional or dysfunctionalism, and we can say unintended consequences, dysfunctionalism and So now let's take into account bureaucratic dysfunction and unintended consequences. See, there have been number of other theorists who undertook certain studies, and they found out certain, or they had certain findings that did not conform to what Weber has claimed in his theory of bureaucracy. To begin with, let's consider the idea of Robert Merton. In his the bureaucratic personality, let's take into account Robert Merton and his idea of the bureaucratic personality. See, as already we have referred, that Weber's bureaucracy is based on the formalization. In fact, the classical theory in general, and as far as the administrative structure is concerned, Weber could be representative to that, the classical ideas. So that very traditional traditional administrative system, or the Weberian model of administration that came up in the modern era. See, this administration is based on the idea of formalization. Formalization means the individuals within this organization, they has to adopt a role, a responsibility that is already preset, that is already set. So the individuals in that position, what they have to do, what role they have to enact, what techniques they have to follow, what activities they have to carry out, what they have to do or do not. Every do and do not is clearly defined through writing. So there are laws, rules, regulations, various processes, mechanism inbuilt into the organization, to the various positions that the individual who occupies required to follow. That is what is formalization. And it is believed that when the individual follows these rules, regulations, or tools and techniques that is defined or established within the organization, then it will result into the achievement of the organizational goal. So the compliance to these laws, rules and regulation will lead towards achievement of those goals. Robert Merton, in his study, he found out that this is not necessarily true. He in fact found out that in the organization that is defined through Weberian philosophy, the emphasis on formalization results into ritualism. Ritualism. This ritualism ultimately results into the displacement of goal. and that is dysfunctional in nature. Let us try to elaborate upon this and understand. This one already you must have gone through while dealing with the critical aspects of Weber. But still, let me pick this up because subsequent to this other ideas will follow. So Robert Merton is highlighting that under the Weberian theory of bureaucracy, the individuals are expected to follow the laws, rules and regulations or various technical and procedural requirements that is already established, already set within the organization, and that's meant to be followed. And it is also believed that when you follow that, because these laws, rules and regulations or these technical processes, procedures or mechanisms that is there within the organization are instrumental in nature. Instrumental means those are considered to be means to achieving the goal. That's what is instrumental in nature. But Robert Merton contradicts this assumption of the Weber. Robert Merton in his studies found out that in reality the such type of organizational culture or organizational tradition results into the over conformity towards laws, rules and regulation. So under Weberian bureaucracy, the idea is that laws, rules and regulations should be followed, and in compliance to these laws, rules and regulation lies the interest of the organization, because in that particular context the individual will be able to achieve the organizational goal. So the laws, rules and regulation or technical processes or methods or mechanisms, all these are mere instrument to achieve the goal, the intended goal. Merton says, no, in such type of organization, a type of organization where there has been so much of emphasis on compliance towards the laws, rules and regulations, this in fact results into more and more creation of a bureaucratic personality. That bureaucratic personality is basically individuals move in that very system focus on complying the laws, rules and regulation, or that results into over conformity. That means their primary goal, their primary focus remains the compliance to the laws, rules and regulations. So something that was merely a means, something that was merely a means, the means to the goal. What are these means? The rules or regulations or laws or let's say technical procedures, etc. So these are merely the means to achieve the goal. But as Robert Merton says, that what Weber is saying, that these laws, rules and regulation makes the organizational rational and that helps to achieve the goal, it is not so. In reality, this type of system develop over conformity. That means people become focused towards following the rules, regulations, laws or these procedures, and for them the final destination, for them their commitment lies with these laws, rules and regulation, whereby they forget this goal. For them, compliance to these laws, rules and regulation becomes the goal in itself. So whether, like let's say in a government organization or in a private organization, the laws or rules or processes are meant to achieve certain goal, but within this, as Robert Merton will say, that functionaries, they become sticklers, they become ritualist. Ritualist means for them compliance to the laws, rules and regulation becomes the goal in itself. They forget that this is meant to achieve a goal, a separate goal. These are only means to achieve another goal. For them, this itself becomes the goal. So that is why the goal is displaced. So this results into displacement of the goal. And this is something dysfunctional because this is what is not intended. So Weberian theory of administration is not intending this particular consequence, or it is not aiming towards this particular type of consequence. So this is an unintended consequence of compliance towards laws, rules and regulation. According to Weber, compliance towards laws, rules and regulation is going to be something nice because this will be rational, because in compliance to these laws, rules and regulation lies the achievement of the goal. But this is something rejected by Robert Morton. Robert Morton says not necessarily, this is not the true. It's not true always, because in number of cases the compliance to the laws, followance of the laws, rules and regulation, followance of the procedures, followance of the technical processes or methods become the goal in itself, while completely forgetting the goal, the actual goal. So for an individual within the Weberian bureaucracy, the means becomes the goal and the goal is lost. That's what is displacement of the goal, and this becomes dysfunctional because this is what is not intended. This is something negative. This is something contrary to what is expected. This is something dysfunctional. As we say, this results into delay, this results into excessive compliance to the rule, and the goal is lost. So this is Robert Morton's idea with regard to displacement of goal or dysfunctional consequences. This aspect most of you might have gone through while dealing with the critical aspects of the Weber. But see, subsequently, whatever argument we are going to develop subsequently, possibly that will be more interesting for you, or that might be slightly new for you people.